Cybersecurity risk management is one of those topics everyone talks about, but very few people actually explain in a way that makes sense. Most advice stays high level and it leaves people confused about how security decisions are really made inside of companies. Risk management is how teams decide what to focus on, what can wait, and what needs immediate attention. It's a bridge between technical security issues and real business decisions. I'm Sid, a senior admin with over 6 years of experience, really 24. I'm actively working in the field and have helped dozens of people build real careers in GRC by focusing on the knowledge that actually matters. In this video, I'm going to walk you through cybersecurity risk management from the ground up, using practical examples to show how risks are identified, evaluated, and handled in real organizations. No fluff, no unnecessary theory, just clear explanation you can actually follow. So let's get into it. 1. What cybersecurity risk management actually is. Cybersecurity risk management is a process of identifying, evaluating, and responding to potential security threats. It's not about eliminating all risks. That's not possible. It's about making informed decisions to reduce risk to an acceptable level. Think of it as a company's strategic playbook for handling uncertainty. It helps answer critical questions like, what are our biggest security weaknesses? What threats are most likely to affect us? And how much are we willing to spend to fix them? It's a continuous cycle, not a one-time fix. It's the engine that drives a company's security strategy, ensuring that time, money, and effort are spent on problems that matter most. 2. The difference between risk, vulnerability, and threat. These three terms are often used interchangeably, but they mean very different things. For one, vulnerability. This is a weakness. It's a flaw in the system, a process, or a control that can be exploited. An unpatched server and an employee who hasn't been trained on phishing are both vulnerabilities. 2. A threat. This is what can exploit the vulnerability. It's a potential danger. A hacker, a piece of malware, or even a natural disaster are all threats. 3. A risk. This is the potential for loss or damage when a threat exploits a vulnerability. Risk combines the likelihood of the threat occurring and the potential impact it would have on the business. For example, the risk of a data breach is a combination of a hacker threat exploiting the unpatched server vulnerability and the resulting financial and reputational damage. Impact. A threat attacks a vulnerability and the result is a risk. 3. How risks are identified in real companies. Risks just don't appear out of thin air. They are identified through a variety of activities, such as 1. Audits and assessments. Formal reviews like SOC 2 or NIST-based assessments are designed to find gaps and weaknesses. 2. Security incidents. When a security event occurs, it often reveals underlying risks that need to be addressed. 3. Vendor reviews. Assessing the security of a third-party vendor is a huge source of risk identification. If your vendor gets breached, you get breached. 3. Vulnerability scanning and penetration testing. These technical tests are designed to proactively find vulnerabilities before attackers do. 4. Employee reports. A sharp employee who reports suspicious email or strange system behavior can be a valuable source of risk identification. All of these findings are collected and formally documented in a risk register, which is the master list of all known risks. 4. How risks are evaluated and prioritized. Once a risk is identified, it needs to be evaluated to determine how serious it is. This is done by assessing 2 key factors, likelihood being the first. How likely is it that this risk will actually happen? This is rated on a scale from often 1, very low, to 5 or 6, very high. Impact. If the risk does happen, how bad will it be? This considers financial loss, reputational damage, and operational disruption, and this is also rated on a scale. These 2 scores are then multiplied to get the final risk score. This is where the risk matrix comes in. A risk with a high likelihood and a high impact will have a high or very high risk score, and this will be top priority. A risk with a low likelihood and low impact will be in a low priority. This scoring system allows companies to move away from a first in, first out approach and focus their resources on the risks that pose the greatest danger to the business. Hey, hope you guys are enjoying this video so far. Real quick, if you want to skip the trial and error of trying to break into cybersecurity and learn the exact GRC framework that I use to build a multi-6-figure remote career, then click the first link in the description and check out the program. Inside it, I walk you step by step through how governance, risk and compliance, and third-party risk actually work, the skills companies really care about, and how to position yourself for real cybersecurity roles without wasting time on things employers don't value. This is the exact approach I've used for myself and the same system I've used to help dozens of other people get into GRC. Everything is laid out very clearly on the page so you can see if it's a good fit for you. Now let's get back to the video. 5. What options companies have once a risk is identified. Once a risk is evaluated, the company has 4 main options for how to handle it. 1. Remediate or mitigate. This is the most common response. It means fixing the issue. If the risk is an unpatched server, you apply the patch. This reduces the likelihood or impact of the risk. 2. Accept. Sometimes the cost of fixing a risk is far greater than the potential impact. In these cases, the company might formally decide to accept the risk. This is a conscious business decision, not negligence. It must be documented and approved by leadership. 3. Transfer or share. This means shifting the risk to a third party. The most common example is buying cybersecurity insurance. You're not eliminating the risk, but you're transferring the financial impact to the insurance company. 4. Avoid. This means stopping the activity that's causing the risk. If a new mobile app is found to have a critical and fixable security flaw, the company might decide to cancel the project altogether to avoid the risk. 6. How risk decisions are documented and tracked. Documentation is critical. Every step of the risk management process is recorded in the risk register. For each identified risk, the register will also include 1. A description of the risk, the likelihood and impact scores, the overall risk rating, high, medium, low, the chosen response, remediate, accept, transfer, or avoid, the owner of the risk, the person responsible for ensuring that it's handled, a remediation plan, and a target date for completion. This documentation provides accountability and creates a clear audit trail for regulators and auditors. It proves that the company has a mature, intentional process for managing its security risks. Who is involved in risk decisions? Like governance, risk management is a collaborative effort. Key players include 1. The security team. They identify and assess the technical aspects of the risk. 2. The risk management team or GRC team. They manage the risk register and facilitate the decision-making process. 3. Business owners. They are the leaders of the departments affected by the risk. They provide the business context and weigh the pros and cons of different responses. 4. Legal and compliance. They advise on the legal and regulatory implications of the risk. 5. Executive leadership. For high-impact risk, the final decision to accept or avoid a risk often rests with the executive team or even the board of directors. 8. How risk management shows up day to day in a role. A day in the life of risk analysts involves reviewing new risks that have been identified and adding them to the risk register, facilitating risk assessment meetings with technical teams and business owners, updating the risk register with new information and tracking the progress of remediation plans, communicating with risk owners to ensure that they are on track to meet their deadlines, preparing reports and dashboards for leadership that provide a clear overview of the company's current risk posture. It's a role that requires strong organizational and communication skills, as you are the central coordinator for the entire risk management process. 9. Common misunderstandings about risk management. The goal is to reduce risk to an acceptable level that aligns with the company's risk appetite. Risk management is just a checklist. A mature risk management program is not about checking boxes. It's about making thoughtful strategic decisions based on clear understandings of the trade-offs. It's purely technical exercise. Risk management is a business function. The technical details are important, but the final decision is always a business decision. What beginners should focus on learning first are the core concepts. Make sure you have a solid understanding of what the difference between a risk, vulnerability, and a threat are. The risk management life cycle, understanding the process of identifying, assessing, responding to, and monitoring risks. The business perspective. Try to think about security issues in terms of their potential impact on the business, not just their technical severity. And lastly, don't stress about memorizing every control and every framework. Focus on the process and the mindset. The big takeaway from this video that I want to give you guys is that risk management is the lens through which all cybersecurity decisions are made. It's a process that turns technical data into business intelligence. Once you understand how to think in terms of risk, the entire field of cybersecurity stops feeling like a random collection of technical problems, and it starts to feel like a structured, strategic discipline. So guys, that's a full breakdown of cybersecurity risk management and how decisions are actually made inside real companies. If this helped things finally click, that's exactly the point. Understanding risk is what makes the rest of cybersecurity start to make sense. The goal isn't to memorize definitions. It's to understand how teams think through problems, weigh trade-offs, and decide what actually matters. Once you get that, navigating a cybersecurity career becomes a lot less confusing. If this was helpful, subscribe and check out the other technical breakdowns on this channel where I explain governance, compliance, and third-party risk the same way. I have videos on how I built a $400,000 a year cybersecurity career and what I'd do if I were starting from scratch today. See you there.